Tentacruel Books, big bad old school radio serial podcast. Brought to you, of course, by Tentacruel Books, bringing you the pulp fiction that skips the boring parts. This week we bring you the thrilling conclusion to Fierro as Lance makes his way back to Salinas, where Hack, Eddie, and Hack's old lady, and a bunch of trouble are waiting for him. Enjoy.
Chapter 20. Lance, Salinas. He drove hard all the way, hoping to somehow make up Gordon's head start and beat him to Andy. He knew he could not beat him to Salinas, but unlike Gordon, Lance knew the city. There was a chance Gordon would get lost. Even better than Gordon getting lost would be if Andy were at work. Lance had told Gordon a lot, but he had not told him where Andy worked. The station was open late. While Andy usually worked afternoons, there was a chance he worked the night shift. He looked at the gun on the seat next to him, a little .22, what some might call a Saturday night special. The surfer had sold it to him, letting it go for $20 and a promise to let him meet Brittany Breastest. The surfer would have to make do with the $20, since Lance did not know her. They were in the same film, but not together. He'd never met her, or known they were in the same movie until he saw her name on the videotape packaging. He hoped he would not need the gun. But if he was going to go to the same place a psychopath like Gordon was headed to, he felt he needed something. He drove to the gas station first and was relieved to see Andy's car in the lot. He pulled in and parked next to a red Pontiac Fiero. He grabbed the gun just in case Gordon had somehow figured out Andy was here. Chapter 21. Andy, Lance, Eddie, Hack, and Hack's old lady. Salinas. Andy took a second to poke his head into the shop. "Hey, I'm just getting something I left in my car," he said to Nick, who was working the night shift. As usual, when it was getting near closing time, and he knew none of the bosses would be coming by, Nick had the Motley Crue on his cassette player cranked up to 10. "Whatever," Nick said without looking up from the Car and Driver magazine he was reading. Andy turned as two motorcycles drove in and blocked his path. Once the bikes had quit rumbling, Andy asked, "How's it going, Eddie?" Instead of answering, Eddie said, "I've changed my mind about that Coke. I've decided I want it." "You still have it?" "Yeah." "You want to buy the whole key?" Eddie drew his gun. He kept it close to his body, where no one outside the four of them could really see it as he pointed it Andy's way, saying, "Who said anything about buy?" "You serious? I look like I'm fucking kidding?" Andy did not think he did. "It's in the trunk of my car, over there." "Give Hack the keys." Andy did as he was told. Hack dismounted his bike and turned to the car just as a crappy foreign sedan, much like Andy's, pulled into the lot and parked next to Andy's car. They all watched Lance get out and heard him call, "Andy!" Eddie noticed he was carrying a gun. "Friend of yours?" Eddie asked. "Yeah, but..." Eddie turned before Andy could finish, saying, "Drop the piece or I fucking drill you." Lance dropped the pistol and put up his hands. "Get my Coke, Hack." "Don't you mean our Coke?" Hack's old lady said. Eddie reached over and backhanded her in the face with his pistol. She toppled over and hit the pavement, holding her nose as blood gushed out of it. "Is that necessary?" Hack said, taking a step toward Eddie. "I haven't listened to her bullshit all day and I've had enough. Get the Coke." Hack looked like he might protest, but after a long second, giving Eddie the stink eye, he went to the trunk of Andy's car. "Wait, is this my Coke you were talking about?" Lance asked. Hack looked at him. "What do you mean your Coke?" Eddie pointed the gun at Lance. "Never mind what this asshole says. Get my fucking Coke." "It's my Coke," Andy said. Andy started to turn toward him, but stopped when he saw Gordon's Sig Sauer pointed his way. "What the fuck are you gonna do with that?" Eddie said as he lowered his gun. Andy thumbed back the hammer. You got the balls to pull that trigger? Get my coke, Hack. Give it to Lance, Andy said. Who's Lance? I am, Lance said as he picked up his gun and pointed at Hack. Just asking, Hack said as he unlocked the trunk to Andy's Datsun. Lift up the mat. It's in with the crowbar. Well, Hack dug for the coke, Eddie said. I don't think you have the balls to pull the trigger. Make it easier on yourself and put it away. If he doesn't, I will, Lance said, turning and pointing his gun at Eddie. If you knew the kind of day I had, you would not fuck with me. Hack pulled the crowbar from the trunk and clocked Lance across the head. As soon as he saw Hack raise the crowbar, Eddie swung his gun Andy's direction, figuring even if the fat kid had the stones to pull the trigger, he would be distracted by Hack putting the crowbar on his friend. Figured odds were good the punk had not even released the safety on the gun he was holding. Andy had released the safety. Andy chambered around. When he pulled the trigger, a small hole appeared under Eddie's eye and a big one appeared in the back of his head. Eddie fell off his bike. Even though he did not have to, Andy shot him again. Andy stepped around Eddie's bike and kept the gun on Hack. He was considering shooting him just for what he did to Lance when Hack's old lady sprung up off the ground and jumped on him. She dug her nails in his skin and was about to bite him in the neck when he shot her 3 times in the stomach. She was still trying to scratch his eyes with 3 big X wounds in her back when he pushed her away. Andy turned to see Hack pointing the little gun Lance had brought his way. You just killed my best friend and my old lady, Hack said. Andy raised his gun and fired as Hack did the same, emptying the magazine on the SIG as Hack unloaded the Saturday Night Special. Hack fell as the big hollow points in Andy's gun did a lot more damage than the 22 slugs in his. Unlike last time, it wasn't pieces of malt liquor bottle in his belly. Andy was bleeding from the stomach and the left thigh. Unlike Hack, he was still breathing and moving. He went to see Lance. He was out cold. He looked like he might be breathing, but Andy couldn't tell. He looked back to see all the gunfire had gotten Nick's attention. The sirens Andy could hear made it clear Nick had called the cops. Andy grabbed his key at Coke and put it in the Fiero. He drove off, pinning the pedal to the floor as he sang along with his Aldo Novo tape cranked to max volume. The end.
Thanks for listening to the 10th Rule Books Big Bad Old School Radio Serial Podcast. We will be coming back soon with more podcasts in the next couple weeks, featuring our season of flash fiction, featuring some of our 10th Rule authors as well as some of our favorites from other places. As always, look for all our titles on Amazon, such as Double Tap, 2 Shots of California Noir, from which this story takes place. And Bodie Meyer's new one, coming soon, Badass Bitch Extraordinaire, Hellbook 2. As always, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and for all things 10th Rule Books, including the announcement of some of the authors we will be having on our flash fiction season, go to www.10thrulebooks blog at 10th Rule Books. Thanks for listening. See you soon.